It is 9 a.m. and I'll call the August 19th meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. Our first item is approving the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Kiefer and seconded by Jorgensen to approve the agenda as presented. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 2, public comment. Is there anyone listening on the phone who'd like to make a public comment at this time? Hearing none, we'll move to item 3, which is review and action regarding the approval of the August 6th and the August 12th minutes of the board.
Kind of a long read.
It's a long read.
It was a long meeting.
Yeah.
But I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for August 6th and August 12th.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion made by Supervisor Kiefer and seconded by Jorgensen to approve the minutes of the August 6th and August 12th Board of Supervisor meetings. Further discussion? Any comment from anyone listening on the phone line? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Item 4, review action regarding the approval of claims.
I didn't find anything out of order in the claims, so I'll make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Jorgensen, seconded by Kiefer, to approve the claims as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is carried. Updates on various boards, commissions, and activities since the last meeting.
I didn't have anything outside of regular meetings, so I don't have anything to share.
I was visited by the mayor of Caldwell, Jeff Wright, early last week, and to visit about the well situation at Caldwell, and they're having trouble getting grants, and he wanted to know if the county could do anything to help, and I called Gloria, and there really isn't anything that we can do, but Gloria suggested that he talk to Tim Fox, and I mentioned it to Tim the next day. Tim was at the NCW or the airport meeting, and Tim thought there was a good chance that he could get him some help. So I passed that message on to Jeff. I don't know if he's contacted Tim or not yet, but
What is the situation there?
well, they have to dig a new well, and according to Jeff, it cost $140,000 to $150,000, and they had to come up with 25% of that to get. The well company they're going to do is B&B Well Service Drilling. I'm not sure where they're from.
I've heard of them.
And they're going to move the well to the north, up where the schoolhouse used to be. There's some property up in there. It's going to be in the corner of that school property. So,
Are they short of water?
yeah, they can't use the water from this well now for drinking. I think they boil it, you can use it for cooking or something maybe, bathing. But it's getting worse. The problem is getting worse. Water's condition is getting deteriorated. So anyway, I don't know if Jeff has met with Tim Fox yet or not, but I told him that he should. I'll check with him. Follow up and see if he did or not.
What I had mentioned was Nyakog, as well as Tim Fox, and then that you could contact Elizabeth, but as far as donating money, the county couldn't donate money because it has, all those agreements you guys have entered into with, say, like foster grandparents and Sweet Charles City, you have to have, the only way you can donate is there a service they're providing that you otherwise couldn't provide to your constituents? But that fit the situation, but that you could potentially loan them the money, but I would suggest that you talk to Elizabeth if you wanted to do something. And then I also suggested they contact Ashley from Norris Springs because they've gone through some major water issues, and I did talk with Chelsea in my office who came from Norris Springs, and she said that they were successful with some grants, even the foundation grant, which has an upcoming deadline here right now, but they might want to jump on that community foundation.
When I talked to Tim Fox about it, he made the comment, he says, it's really easy to get money for wells. But he says you have to have an engineer, and you know, an engineer's got to draw up the plans, and I think they may have already had that done.
Yeah.
But Tim suggested an engineer in Mason City that could do it if they haven't had it done. So, but I'll follow up with Jeff and see what he's done, if anything, so far.
They jump on that community foundation.
I'll mention that.
That would be a large one.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing too, $140,000 doesn't sound like a lot of money. Well, that's what they do.
Their property taxes around $40,000 that they collect in a year. So it's a huge amount.
Yeah. So, and then I also had the Cedar Aviation Authority Wednesday afternoon, and it sounds like they got a grant to build a new hangar, what they call T hangars, 10 hangars that are 5 in a row back to back, and it's kind of dovetail in between each other.
Small private planes or.
Yeah, well, so yeah, they would intention to rent them out.
Yeah.
That'll be built when you pull into the driveway, it'll be on the west side of that paved driveway. And then there was a joint entity meeting, but that was canceled, lack of participation, so that was my week.
All right, I just continue to work on the draft ordinance is being reviewed and next meeting on September 3rd. And that was, I didn't have a forum. Item 6, review and action regarding Mason City Clinic request for project to use opioid funds. All right, in your packet, you received some information about that. Gail, you gonna just put us about that? Like,
Yeah, so-
can you come up here so we can hear you
Yeah,
by
I
this?
struggle
Thank
to
you.
hear right there too.
Thank you.
Damn. So I've been working with John. We've spent the last several months actually, and Todd Pritchard too. We've kind of been talking about what to do with some of these opioid funds and part of some other committees and whatnot. But I've been working with John out at the hospital to instead of just always using these funds to put messaging out there, which is great. We need to do that too. Let's actually try to make an impact here and see if we can't help some people that maybe have an addiction or actually just need some treatment and don't go to Mason City or Waterloo or wherever. So we came up with this idea of possibly bringing a provider to Charles City or by telehealth. John has Dr. Ramos from Mason City Clinic who is agreeing to come, and it's all written. Did you send them that packet, that information?
And it was just an email.
Just an email.
Yeah.
Yep. So opioid funds for 12 panel wave drug screen. For the time of their telehealth visit, the cost per drug screen is $10 per screen. And the reason they're asking for money for that is because it is not reimbursable otherwise in their telehealth. So some of the opioid dollars would go towards those drug screenings, and he estimated that to be about $200 per month. And due to compliance issues and laws, they would have to rent some space. So about $200 again per month, and then Dr. Ramos is going to head up a opioid committee at the hospital, which I'm going to be a part of too. So it will be for his time to participate on that committee. So I think it's a wonderful thing to have this available here in Charles City. So for anyone in the county to utilize, not just county residents, anyone. So, and I think it's a great way to spend those opioid dollars too, and actually make a huge impact. So I did send an email to Todd I don't know if you, that email probably didn't get forwarded on to the supervisors, but he thought it was a great way to spend the dollars too. And didn't see any problem with issues there, the dollars being spent that way. I guess, they also hope to grow the program, so, as they get more patients in and they need to see more people, the dollar amount may go up a little bit, as he stated there in that email.
The work is in the hospital then.
It kind of sounds like they, yeah, and by telehealth. At the hospital.
And is the Floyd County Medical Center on board with all this?
Yep, this is coming from John, who, I don't know what is his title, Chief Ambulatory Officer there, so. And so what they're gonna treat him with is Suboxone, which is, a drug that kind of, helps with some of the withdrawal symptoms of opioids and some of the maintenance. So, and not everyone can prescribe Suboxone, so you can't go to your primary medical provider and have them prescribe that for you. It's a special license and special. So it's hard to find providers that do have the ability to prescribe that. So you have to be over the age of 15, so it wouldn't be children at this time.
The opioids, sort of tracking them, are they leveling off? Are they,
I think it's becoming actually more of a.
it's more of a problem?
And more people actually realize, yeah. Seeing more and more of it.
So today, we were talking about Rude, you do an action with the request, for the request, but there's no formal agreement that to approve it.
No, I think he just wants to know if he should move forward with it, yes. So, since we haven't really done anything like this, do we want them to write something up? How do we
Oh,
want
yeah,
this to
we
work?
want a formal agreement with them.
Okay,
Definitely. And the email said that they would, this is from John, who would, I'll work on writing up a formal agreement with the county.
alright, so, you want all billing and everything to go through us, and then we send it to you? How do you want that to work?
I think that's the way the one is working with the, marketing.
Yep.
So I think that's fine. Randy, anything you've provided, I've provided to Randy too, because Randy's the one that's doing that reporting to the database that's provided through the state for tracking funds, and there's so much money that's coming through with this that some of them have certain criteria that it has to meet certain funding for that particular settlement dollars to go towards
In Randy's tracking.
Yeah. So anything you've provided with marketing, I've forwarded to him. Or you could follow him and run it through the plan towards this. Okay.
Alrighty, so I will tell John to move forward.
All right, is there a motion to approve the consideration for Mason City Clinic request for project to the general voice of approval, pending the formal agreement of the
Make a motion.
Second.
we have a motion by Supervisor Gordon, seconded by Kiefer to approve writing a formal agreement with the Floyd County Medical Center for the use of opioid funds with the emergency. Further discussion? Any comments from anyone listening on the phone? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, guys. That sounds
Thank you.
great. Item 7, review and action regarding applications for homestead tax credit exemption. glad he's here with us, and, are there any questions? Let's see, where do we leave this? We had, did some more sorting out and things for us.
Yes, so the issue surrounding the counts is really surrounding the not very well written application. When the homestead exemption was created, it's still rather new. They combined it with the homestead credit application, and it does cause some confusion. Two of those six are I don't have an application in front of me, but basically you fill out the application, you put your birthday on it. On the back, there's a place where it has you answer like a test to you were 65 before January 1st of the year of application. And that you're, signing up for that application and you check yes or no. Well, two of the applications, they actually checked no, they were not 65 by January 1st. The issue is that we knew that they already had homestead credit, so it wasn't like a duplicate application for that. And we knew that these two individuals came in and signed this application with the intent of signing up for the homestead 65, because they did turn 65 between January 1st and July 1st. And so my feeling is that they need to be formally disallowed because their intent was to apply for the credit, even though by marking no, they basically took that out. Caitlin did do some looking on Friday while I was out of the office, and we did have a couple applications that fell on the same thing last year that we also recommended for disallowance. And I also think it's better to handle it this way. Otherwise, they're not going to get any notice that they're not getting the credit. And so I'd rather send a letter and say, hey, by the way, you're not getting it, but you can sign up for it now, than to wait 18 months and they get a tax statement that doesn't show the credit. And they're going to say, hey, but I signed it up. And we'll have to say, well, the state's form is written really badly. And, technically you didn't sign up because you marked no. So, otherwise, I think everything's pretty cut and dried. Again, it's kind of confusing. I changed a little bit of the way how I reported it from how Caitlin had presented it, because it's a combined form. Sometimes you have the form where they're signing up for both credits. Sometimes they're just signing up for homestead. Sometimes they're just signing up for homestead 65. And so it's a lot. We're probably not going to get any resolution from the state with that. So it's just going to be what it is. So as I said in my email, recommending for allowance 170 homestead credits, 104 homestead exemptions, 8 disabled veteran, and 22 military exemptions for allowance, and recommending for disallowance 2 homestead credit, 6 homestead exemptions, and 3 military exemptions. And then I'd also stated in my email there was some other questions and conversations regarding the disabled veteran homestead credit for Debbie Steinberg. From what I can tell, that this situation has never been addressed by anyone in the state. I've contacted basically every assessor in the state, the executive board for our affiliate. The issue again surrounds the fact that her deceased husband, did not have this credit nor qualify or apply for it for his death. And he was rated as 100% disabled after his death, which is what allowed Debbie to get the DIC payments. But she has signed up for this credit and applied for it under her own merit as a disabled or as a surviving spouse is receiving DIC. So there is code language that talks about continuing the credit, continuation of a credit of a surviving spouse, but we're not continuing Bernard's credit. He never had it. And so the second issue is that he died over a year ago, and there's been no estate opened or anything formally filed that would transfer the property into her name. So the question then surrounds is, she's not an owner of the property, and so we can't extend necessarily as a surviving spouse to her because she's applying on her own merit, and she doesn't qualify as an owner to have credit on its own anyway. Just because there's a lot of like, if this, then that kind of thing that goes on here. I did research this extensively once again, and the Department of Revenue has offered like clarifications, like to give us what the intent of the legislation was, and they addressed a lot of issues, but not this specific issue, and no other assessor that I could find has addressed the specific issue either. And again, it would be if she never owns the property and it's never transferred into her name, does she qualify for the credit, not being an owner? But she is a surviving spouse. So my intent is to send that to the Department of Revenue and ask for clarification in their opinion. at the end of the day, if Debbie would appeal, my, recommendation and appeal your decision to honor that, it would ultimately end up with the Department of Revenue to decide anyway. So we'll just have them decide now, before we go one way or the other. As far as getting the credit, if she were to be allowed the credit, as far as getting that on her tax statements, we can almost go up to a year from now and still make that happen. It takes some extra paperwork, but it's not like we're running out of time if we don't do it right away. I do anticipate it taking several months to get an answer from the Department of Revenue. They are short-staffed down there. Julie Roizen, the director of Property Tax Administration, resigned suddenly. And so they're a little short-staffed, and she would have been one to participate in this. But I'm just gonna hold on to the application for now, and when I get a determination from the Department of Revenue, I'll come back with a recommendation.
Sounds like a great challenge, very much. In case we can't find any example like that anywhere else, and I understand the intent of the law and how that's written out, so appreciate your
Yeah.
research into that. I think it's probably a very prudent decision, let them time and decide it.
Yeah, and like I said, since we have the time, I just felt like it would be a better result, so feel good about it that way, one way or the other.
Hello, yes, who is it?
Hey, Brady Mahler.
Yes,
Hey,
Randy.
on this veteran thing, I talked to Gloria too. Without the home in your name, I get that, but we, discussed at home about, like, we're on our husband's benefits as part of it through the VA. I think that's where it's true. Like,
What?
we're dependents, you know? We're in the same situation, but yeah. I think I can see where somebody else comes off of that, because I wouldn't think that twice either.
Okay. Thank you for that.
I guess I just commented that when you talk about the homestead credit, the Code of Iowa describes exactly what qualifies as an owner, and there is surviving spouse qualifies to continuation of a credit as long as they don't leave. A surviving spouse that is or a surviving heir that is a beneficiary to the state, it talks about how they can have a continuation of a homestead credit. When you get in the code language for the disabled veteran, it very specifically talks about if this happens, then this, if this happens, then this, if they are this, and there's like 4 different things. And the ownership part that is discussed in the homestead is not included in that, where it references back to other subsections. And so, again, I guess that's where I come to, was the intent of the legislation to allow that, or because they specifically didn't talk about it, it wasn't. We're told by the Department of Revenue to always err on the side of disallowing a credit, because it's taxpayer money, and also not to read into code that's not there. So it's not our role to do that. You're supposed to take the code very much at face value. So because it's not referenced in that code, it makes you believe that they intentionally left that out. But again, it's just a due diligence thing. And I understand that the veteran payments and the DIC payments to beneficiaries, they have a little bit different rules for that. We work with Todd a lot.
They don't match up.
That would be too easy.
I agree.
Any questions for Brandy regarding this?
Well, the other ones that you've allowed, obviously, you don't have any trouble with.
No, the other ones are very black and white.
We need a motion. I'll make a motion to approve applications for homestead tax credit and exemption, homestead 65 and military service property tax exemptions according to Brady's recommendations.
That would be, these are the numbers.
Yeah, the numbers
The intent is to add those numbers.
the 170 homestead, 170 homestead credits, 104 homestead exemptions, 8 disabled veteran homesteads, 22 military exemptions for allowance. Also recommend 2 homestead credits, 6 homestead exemptions, and 3 military exemptions for disallowance. Is that correct?
Yes.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion made by Supervisor Kiefer, seconded by Jorgensen to allow 170 homestead credits, 104 homestead exemptions, 8 disabled veteran homesteads, 22 military exemptions for allowance, and recommending 2 homestead credits, 6 homestead exemptions, and 3 military exemptions for this law. Further discussion? Comment from anyone listening on the phone? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Randy.
Thank
All right, this time we'll open up, we'll go to the public hearing regarding the fiscal year 25 county budget amendment. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved to open the public hearing for the FY 25 county budget amendment.
Second.
Moved by Supervisor Jorgensen and seconded by Kiefer to open the public hearing on the fiscal year 25 county budget amendment. Dr. Carr, did you receive any written or oral comments either in favor or opposed to the proposed amendment?
No, I'm not going to anything in support of or.
Any comments from anyone listening on the phone regarding the budget amendment? I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Supervisor Kiefer and seconded by Joe Goodson to close the public hearing on the budget amendment at this time. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's carried. Dr. Carr, would you explain the need and the budget amendments for, please?
And this, the only thing that came through on this one is just ARPA dollars. We had budgeted fiscal year 24 to spend all of our ARPA dollars, and we're shy of doing that. So this just allows the total of $105,566. It's actually $65.67 or something like that, but rounded to $105,566. Budget does only hold dollars in it. Spend the money, we'll spend it down to the last penny in this fiscal year, hopefully before the end of. Maybe, whatever kind of comes up first. Oh yeah, so there's identity revenues in there, it's kind of early in the year yet, I like to often offset expenses with revenues, but since this is just unused ARPA dollars, that is the only thing.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 22-24 budget amendment and applications in the amount of $105,566.
Second.
Motion's been made by Supervisor Kiefer, seconded by Jorgensen to approve resolution 2224 budget amendment and appropriations. Further discussion? Any comment from anyone listening on the phone call-in line? Hearing none, Auditor Carr, would you call the roll?
Kiefer,
Aye.
Jorgensen.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 22-24. All right. Item 10, which is review and action regarding the disposition of the Rudd parcel owned by Floyd County. In fact, you had a letter from the attorney representing Dana Larson. And he has rented from the county for a long time. You can read the letter yourself if you haven't already. There has been an offer. The offer is $2,000 to purchase this building since it joins the property before the building. In the packet, there was a overhead picture of the property. There's also a tax bill regarding that. So, any questions regarding this?
I think it's on the telephone, somebody might not be muted and maybe in the window. Background, I think there's a background that was go for dollars maybe.
$300, $25 a month is what it is. I haven't looked since some of those previous emails about that to see. I'd have to check with the treasurer's office to see if they've updated. It was, I think, about a year and a half behind.
I didn't see any mention of that in there. Just offered.
I did email Todd, but I haven't heard back from him, but it was late on Friday when I emailed him, so. Looked over the information, but it did just provide, in your packet, sample of what we've done in the past for that. I mean, although he got the email from.
Actually, I had a conversation with Todd, and right at the time we brought this up, it was yesterday, there was a bunch of cattle on the road, and he had to stop and get the cattle off the road, and he's called the sheriff, and he didn't get back to me, so I was just ready to talk to him about this, to see if how he thought about this, and I haven't, this would be. You gotta bring up this.
With rent?
Yeah.
Yeah, $300, and we have to post this yet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so there potentially could be other bids that would be higher. I don't know.
It did actually.
I agree. On the other hand, we have to post it anyway, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Be nice to get it back on the.
Get it back on the tax rolls, yeah.
I do know when they had tornado go through there. They didn't come to the county and ask for anything. Roof on.
Yeah.
I think they had a bunch of volunteers to put the roof on. You can see that new roof, and I don't know how well it shows up in the email.
I've seen that. I mean, that they put on to use, it wasn't just tarp.
Yeah, right.
So.
They do have some, I would assume they maybe have some dollars in that. Yes. Rent, but they never came asked for it.
So it's not indicated that there's any reason we shouldn't.
And I haven't talked to him. He had the email from, email was sent to him and I from the attorney back in.
What do you say we just, see if we can contact him right now and just refer on this for a little bit during the meeting?
Sure.
Sound good?
Set table or something.
All right. We'll just, after, I'll require text Todd and just a little more conversation on this topic. We'll return to it in a few minutes. All right?
Sure.
Perfect. Sounds good. Discussion with the county engineer about secondary roads activity. Yes,
Good morning.
Might start with maintenance side of things. Drew's always doing
work orders and drive permits. Those always are coming in. We had some of the road crew doing patches on Underwood, that concrete section south of Niles Corner. Um, that's kind of a rougher section of road that will need longer term solutions in the future. But now that they're just patching it. We had some issues on some of the patches we'd already had on P60. Those were repaired Friday. I know we had a few complaints called in last week on those. They're still out mowing gravels, and they're about to complete their third round of mowing on the blacktops this summer. Last week they completed the rock resurfacing project, so all the rock is down now. So it's good to have that done. Shop wise, we just had our general shop maintenance. We did have a hydraulic pump go out on a grader, which is not great. It's kind of an expensive. At first, we thought it was going to cost us like upwards of $15,000, and we ended up finding a different solution that will work for, I think it was $6,000. So there's not as bad as we thought, but it's costly repair. And then our Kirkwood day labor project, bridge replacement. They got the bridge out. They got everything, all the abutments out last week, and they will be setting the culvert that's replacing the bridge tomorrow morning. We'll start. That's up by Kirkwood and 110th. They're on the gravel. Office wise, we just completed all the documents for the Victory Ave Bridge, so that's closed out. We're still working through some final documents on Floyd 3rd Avenue, that project. Jake's been spending time with the maintenance crew on Kirkwood, the day labor project, surveying and getting elevations for those guys, so they're ready to set that box tomorrow. We got the pavement marking plans completed. That'll be let this winter. Now in March, it's sort of the early spring there, so we'll do new pavement markings next summer across the whole county. I think Jake's got the T26 resurfacing plans are about completed. They're almost done. We'll be lighting that in March as well. So we're in good shape there. I'll have to do my review, but those are coming along. And then our B60 cold in place recycling project that we'll be lighting in March. Dwayne started those plans now. So we'll be working through those fall and winter. So, Tracy and I have been working on our annual report. I hope to complete that either this week or early next week. We had some fund balance issues that we were working through with solutions that took quite a bit of time to resolve. Everything was resolved last week, so we could kind of finish our year-end, our fiscal year-end accounting wise. So that is good to have that done. We can move forward with our annual reporting and some other things. And then just our normal office work, getting permits or taking requests. Unless you guys had any other questions for me or anything.
I just have one actually. It was a citizen who was talking to me last night, early in the evening. It's starting at Indigo on 180th going north, 140th. Some perhaps cable was drug in there a couple of years ago or something. We were getting to pull all their states. Maybe some. Didn't get a chance to drive by and see it firsthand.
Okay.
Creating a weed issue, I've been told, so just something to acknowledge. Like I said, I haven't seen it. I didn't have a chance.
It looked like they left their like wooden stakes or like.
Yeah, I don't know if it's wooden stakes or what kind of stakes, but something's going on there, and I wish I would have had a better opportunity to go look at it before I spoke to you about it.
That's okay. I'll take a note. I'll let our guys know so we can go and look at it and see what's going on. It was on Indigo.
140th and 180th.
Yep. Okay.
Other than that, I don't know.
Thank you, guys. All right.
Hey, Shirley, Fisher to invite us, so let's go back to, item 10, which is, we're talking about that parcel in Rudd, and we kind of started talking about that last night, and then you had a little cow, or something. Did that work out all right? The cows on the road?
Well, I handed that off to another department.
Good, well, it's taken care of, great.
You don't have any beef in the locker, do you?
No. Yeah, so I'm not sure how that turned out with the livestock last meeting. So. I had not.
Was gas station growing?
This the old town one?
No.
No.
It's right across from City Hall, to the south of City Hall, kind of between City Hall and, it's actually to the east of Tanks.
Okay.
The county acquired the property by tax sale deed after ground, and so there's been inspections done on the soil for many years. Actually, if Jacob was still here, he would have that record more on how many years. The markets, when you were here.
Yeah, it was funded by the Leaking Underground Storage Trust Fund. And, it's been mitigated and it's finally okay.
But for many years, Dana Larson has been renting $25 a month. Now he's interested in purchasing the property.
2,000.
So we had talked about there hasn't been, rent hadn't been paid. I haven't checked with the treasurer's office. That fund balance an issue I could work out for this week. They had talked about that was right fund balancing issue. So I'm not sure if July or August it was paid anything. It had been about a year and a half with no. So that was one of the things that was talked about. And then this, what I emailed you on Friday, as far as the disposition part goes, that's a template that we've used in the past.
I would say take bid, whatever you feel is appropriate for price. Whether that's 2,000 or not, I don't. Pay back rent, so agreed to.
He spent, am I correct, he spent some of his own money on putting a roof.
Yeah,
doing some repairs to it after the tornado.
When the tornado went through, he never did come back to the county and say, hey, I'm gonna put roof on. I don't know what his costs were. I think there was some volunteer time, maybe some materials for that, so I don't know if he had, what he had for cost. He did come back, there
So you
were,
wanna, I guess that, what, a year and a half's worth of rent at $25 and
$500.
say $500 and you want to set it or something, settle up with, settle it, set it, whatever you wanna do. Then you're doing the public hearing for the sale, so that's covers that.
The materials for the roof is probably actually more than it would have been cleaner if the process is followed, but,
Usually it's just communication, right?
yeah.
If you're gonna fix a leaky faucet for your landlord, you usually just say, hey, here's a receipt, I did $100 worth of faucet repair, you can take that off my rent. Just never had that communication, so I don't know what he did. It was whatever, 18 times 25, or whatever, how many months.
$450.
So I think you can offset it if that's appropriate, or just settle it up, come to some agreement as what the rent will be settled at.
Perhaps there's a second bidder of $100 more. then what you do.
You don't necessarily have to take a high bid. I believe those buildings are all connected.
They
I
are,
think he's got,
there's a walkway, doorway through.
yeah. One they own, one the county.
That's kind of that, this is for that public hearing. That's that time for somebody to come forward and say, oh, I'll give you 10,000 for it. So it matters really, I mean, we got a process to accept or reject his offer, something else with it, or and then just come to terms on the background.
Correspondence to the attorney from the email you sent.
Yeah. Decides how you want to proceed.
I think we should get back on the tax
I agree.
rules. I mean, it's not a big deal
It's not, but
for anybody.
it would be better used in private than county owned.
That is my opinion.
I'm not familiar with the buildings. I've been through there. I just never noticed the buildings. Is it 1,000 appropriate or?
I mean, I would never use it, you know, so, yeah.
Apparently the restaurant isn't interested in it.
But actually Larson's own restaurant, and then to the east is Larson's, and then on the next building is the county.
Okay.
So the restaurants really can't, let's say, level it
I
apart.
had a truck around.
Yeah, yeah. I'd be happy to have someone in the private sector own that. Motion to start that process, the auditor to place the for sale posting.
Yeah, and so I put in here September 3rd, but I wasn't sure what date that would be, the day after Labor Day, which is also the same day you're having your 6:30 meeting. You put it, so we could get the notifications. That's a 4 and 20 day requirement for publishing notice. I just didn't put a time because I wasn't sure if maybe you might have a 4 o'clock meeting like you did. Or cut time together rather than have a 9 o'clock. And
Makes sense to, I guess that'd work well for me to have the 4 o'clock and then the 6:30.
I'm fine with that. On the 3rd of September. Stands here.
So perhaps 4:15 if it starts at 4.
Yeah.
so that covers that part. Is just if you want Todd to follow up with anything on the rent. Let's follow up on the rent.
I kind of think he's probably got more into it personally than what the back rent is. It's worth washing out. That's right. Yeah. I just don't know how you want the motion.
Well, do you want, or you want to just bring it up as part of the discussion when you sell it on the 3rd?
You still need a motion to list it for sale.
Ask like, hey, what's Dana Larson? Just I'll just email the attorney. Say, hey, we've got some back rent here, we understand they did some repair or roof work. What's their position on the back rent? Figure it out on the 3rd.
But, no, that was sent July 25th. Really just, setting the hearing.
Just asking about the background.
Just a motion for setting the hearing, you said. I'll make a motion to set the hearing for September 3rd, 4:15. In this room. In the Board of Supervisor room regarding the disposition of the road parcel owned by Floyd County.
All right, motion's been made by Supervisor Jorgensen and seconded by Keeper to set a public hearing for the, disposition of the real property, in Rudd, acquired by the county through a tax sale deed. Further discussion? Comment from anyone listening on the phone? Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Item 12, review and action regarding a 2080 agreement between Mitchell County and Floyd County for participation with the Mitchell County Links Emergency Duress System. Good morning, Jason. Morning. Would you like to come tell us a little more about this? We've talked about it before, I know, but have you seen the agreement? So
Yeah, so I guess at this point, we're just at, having you guys agree with entering into Mitchell County's 2080 agreement that they drafted up, and, that's about the last step I think we need to, before we can order the hardware that we need and start getting the software installed into employees' computers. So the link system, they sell this package with a minimum of 500 seats, which is for a smaller county like us, Mitchell County, that's quite a few seats. So for us to be able to share and split those 500 equally, it makes it a little bit more affordable for us. And Mitchell County has agreed that that's a good idea and will allow us to buy out half of their licenses.
So this system would be on computers now. Is that what you said, Jason?
For the majority of the users, yes.
Okay.
it becomes live and operational right away?
No, there'll be some, I'll have to get with IT and we'll have to start developing a plan on getting it installed, and we'll have to order the hardware, but I mean, we're talking about a week or two probably before we can get started on it, so fairly soon.
And is the payment the $27.50 for 4 times? That's the entire payment, or is there more?
No, it should be, yeah, it looks like this agreement will cover 4 payments through 2027.
One time, just an annual payment once a year, right?
Right, 2750.
So that continues on after this one expires on the August 22nd of 2028?
I haven't read that in here. Maybe, I don't remember, I guess, seeing that. Or whether it automatically continues or whether a new agreement needs to be.
That you're talking about the August 28th thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so this agreement shall end on August 28th, 2028. Which, with technology and everything ever evolving, it might not be a bad idea that it ends then and we can reevaluate things at that time.
Yeah.
See if it's still there.
I would just mention on this one that Todd has reviewed this as well, but this is the one that Aaron Murphy is the county attorney.
Yeah, so technically, I mean, I do have a conflict because Aaron is a partner or part of my firm. He's also the Mitchell County attorney. He drafted this, so I mean, we're making an agreement. It's pretty benign, but 2080, right, for sharing. But yeah, I did have a look at it. See anything. I just reviewed it. I didn't have any part of its drafting. Or if they want to have someone else look at it, or
Are we questioning the 2080 agreement or about doing it? I think we should do it. I mean, right, Jason, I mean, you're the,
Absolutely.
so currently, do we have a system similar to this working right now?
We have a system somewhat similar to this, but it's not very reliable at all. It's completely outdated. We absolutely need this, yes.
I think we need to go ahead.
So the one question I had is, at the end of then we're just gonna amend it to continue it, or are there 4 payments of $27.50 and then it's done? That's the only thing that I'm not clear, sure in the agreement it's drafted.
I think that at the end of August of 2028, we want to reevaluate to see if that system is still a good system and then re-enter into another agreement to, right?
Yeah, and I think also attached is the agreement that they have with Johnson Controls, and I think that's ending at that time period. So they don't have an agreement, correct? That's that other part of this. Part-
It probably is connected to them owning the system with Johnson Controls.
Yeah. So that, I'm not sure about how this talks about 5 years. Billed annually for 5 years, so I don't know if that gets them to that August 28 date. That's why they're putting that. They had this for,
They've had it since August of last year.
yeah,
They signed the agreement on the
so then there's
23rd,
4 more years left of their 5 years.
2023.
There's 4 more years left of their 5-year agreement for Johnson Controls. That's, I would assume why they would do.
Theirs was initially, they're starting up to be 5,
Yes.
because they're a year into it. Will be.
So we're buying into the last 4. Yeah. 4 payments.
Then when that's over,
Evaluate.
look at it, right?
Yeah.
Working probably continue and
Then they would have to renew their contract with Johnson Controls, and then we would amend this to suit that, I would imagine.
this agreement makes it more affordable for both counties, right?
Absolutely. Figures out right now, each seat is about $11. So, you know, if we had to pay $11 at 500 seats, math on that versus $11 at 250, you know, we're getting our share of the program for half, and so are they.
How many seats does Mitchell currently use? How many seats do you expect Floyd County to use?
I'm not sure how many Mitchell County uses right now, but currently within the courthouse, we could probably be at 75, but if we expand that out and include public health and,
you know,
the other county offices, and like I said, the last time we talked about this, theoretically, we could get the cities involved if they wanted to have it in the council chambers or at their front desk, their utility billing stuff.
that's what I wondered if, 6 months or a year down the road, perhaps another county or another government entity might want to also buy into it, which
That might make it,
too
make
cluttered.
the seat packages too small.
Okay,
But you know, maybe at the end of this 5-year contract with them, we could have the school districts and the county bought into it as well. So, you know, you start talking about schools getting into it and maybe we could be at 500 seats very easily ourselves and we wouldn't have to share anymore. And then the rest of those entities would be paying us like we're paying Mitchell County or will be paying Mitchell County.
I see some merit to this, of course.
What's that?
I see some merit getting schools involved,
oh, yeah,
so.
oh, yeah.
I think there was, where we were talking to Chelsea upstairs, wondered if it'd be available to cities.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, like the utility clerk desks at city halls, you know, sometimes you get people who come in there that are a little unhappy with things and it could be used all over. City hall, council chambers, you know, much like in here.
So we need a motion. Make a motion to approve the 2080 agreement between Mitchell County and Floyd County for participation with the Mitchell County Links Emergency Duress System.
Second,
A motion has been made by Supervisor Kiefer and seconded by Jordan. To agree to a 2080 agreement with Mitchell County. Participation with Mitchell County in the Links Emergency Duress System. Further discussion? Hey, you want to listen on the phone? I'd like to make you talk. Not, those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's carried.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Item 13, discussion regarding emergency medical services levy ballot issue. As you know, we were, it's in your packet, the email that we got from ESTAR, the recommendation that was made by the advisory council for a meeting, and it's just forwarded. It's for a 5-year levy, ad valorem property taxes only in the amount of $670,000 for a tax rate of 69 cents per thousand. Keith has provided some additional narrative on what that 69 cent levy would be used for. He's got 440,000 going to the AMR. 10,000 the county is presently paying to Green and North Springs, 50,000 to be divided between Green Ambulances, North Spring Ambulance, and Mud Rock first responders. $20,000 to Chelsea for repairs and utilities for the ambulance area. And so that totals up to 520,000. And then he figures some things in there about inflation. So as I understand this one, it's up to 670,000 annual, 69 cents levy. So that's one proposal. That was approved at the last advisory committee meeting that you attended.
correct.
So you're in support of this one.
Yeah, I was, attended that by telephone.
Okay, the other one that will be discussed and decided tonight is the proposal that the board approved at our July 26th supervisors meeting. And that asked for a $450,000 property tax levy for a period of 5 years. And then it also makes a request to the Floyd County Medical Center Board of Trustees for a phase-in payments over 3 years until the Floyd County Medical Center pays a full 1/3 share of the cost for emergency ambulance services. Provided by AMR at the end of the amended agreement and the new 3-year agreement with AMR on June 30th, 2029. This will be discussed tonight at a 5:30 meeting at the medical center. So that's the proposal we've approved. These are the two. We'll find out tonight if they're interested in doing that or not. We just put it on the agenda because either way, we've got about 1 week to decide if we're gonna have a EMS tax levy or not. So we could take that up at our next meeting on from today. And it's done by resolution. The resolution, there was another copy. I have a copy of the last one that was approved. It also was approved about this time. It's not too late. I think Butler County just approved one the other day. I know Buchanan County is working on the same thing, so we'll see what happens tonight, and then we'll go from there. I just wanted to bring them both up, and my intention is to let people decide. So
Maybe I've shared this with you already. The last time I had a meeting at the chamber, Mayor Andrews was there, and when the chamber meeting ended, he asked me to stay. And he wanted to tell me that he's not in favor of putting anything on the ballot this year because of so much confusion. I'm not saying I support that, but I promised him that I would share his thoughts with the board. His comment was he didn't think it mattered how much money it was. He doesn't think there's any support for anything out there. So much confusion right now. That's what he told me.
I've gotten some of the same comments from several months ago from EMS members as well, that it doesn't have to be in, maybe we should. So there is some reservations that way.
Dean is out of the country right now. He's in Scotland. But I told him I'm sure that. So that's right.
I did talk to Keystar about that very thing. He doesn't share that same opinion from Mayor Harris.
Okay. Yeah,
And he'd like to have a vote. And he'd support whatever the supervisors approved in the resolution. Okay. Is there any other discussion regarding this? We'll see what happens tonight.
Okay.
Is there ballot language that needs to be addressed? Or is there a timeline?
Provided language that would, the bottom right corner is what the county's.
Oh, you got one.
Bottom right corner is what the county had for ballot language. And so depending what you think you might want for some ballot language, I would run by that resolution, and I can email that resolution to all of you if you want to see what was passed last year that John Danos from Dorsey Whitney provided for us. If you'd like to see that, or I did mock up that exact resolution to ballot language with removing the income surtax and putting the 54 cents to 69 cents and the 554,000 to 670,000 and changing the 10 years to 5 years. And I know Pat Lumley, when he was on the council, had wanted to put different language on, and John Danos and Pat and I did a phone conversation at one time, and he said if you want to add additional language, you could add language, but these that were provided from the other counties, there were some that were definitely, no, you don't want to do that language from John Danos, such as, like Cedar counties that says this program will enhance and strengthen our essential community ambulance services. That whole part of it, you said that's subjective, so you wouldn't want to put language like that in there. Because now you've got a measurable part in there. But if you wanted to put that you were using the funding such as like Shelby counties, where it's including but not limited to ambulance service personnel and equipment, that kind of thing, if you felt you wanted to put something like that, do something like that, but you need to stay away from those. 'Cause so if you think you want anything, I would, before the next meeting, I would propose something to John so that on the 26th, you would have a resolution that says exactly what you want. But their timing is of the essence because this has to be in by Wednesday, 5 p.m. And then there's a 60-day publication requirement that would be no later than Wednesday the following week.
What date is that Wednesday that you're talking about?
28th.
That could be accommodated meeting the other one next.
Yes.
You wouldn't have to have a special meeting.
And I would hope that by Monday you would know what you want, rather than having to have another special 2 days later. And again, because of that publication requirement, we have our 2 official newspapers, and the 60 days before that following, 28th, we could still, as long as I get it to the newspaper by noon on Monday, the 26th, it could be in the 28th North Springs paper. Otherwise, the following Wednesday North Springs paper would be your last chance to get it, meet your 60-day requirement. Not to exceed 60 days. For that publication.
Any other questions regarding possibilities or timing of them?
It's not getting any easier.
Well, we'll see what happens tonight. It's an online meeting, so if you want.
Is that the phone number, where would that phone number be printed at? It's in the agenda, I assume.
I emailed the agenda. I could not find it the other day, but by the way, I just want to make clarification on that 60 day. I think I said not to exceed 60 days, but it's no less than 60.
You have a phone number for the meeting tonight, can you just email it to us? Maybe?
Yes.
Okay, moving on, item 14, due action regarding proposal for sign at public entrance. In the packet, there is a proposal from Nagel Signs for a total of $2,478.15 to furnish and install 12-inch tall, half-inch thick Floyd and 2 3/4 inch tall, 1/4 inch thick aluminum county courthouse. And then somewhere it says entrance, right? Public entrance.
Yeah, between the doors, I believe.
Is that on the?
Yes.
Is that on the?
It's back in this door back here.
Is it on there now?
No, it would be on that door. right
Above the
there.
door, right, or on the door?
Yeah, not.
2-foot glass between the 2 doors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Between the doors, not
Yeah.
the transit window above, but.
Yep.
between
Oh, I see. Okay. Public, is that big enough?
I don't know if it's 2 foot or what it is, but there's glass
Yeah.
panel.
We thought it was fairly tough to thought it'd be okay, didn't he?
Yeah, the other ideas we talked about is putting something either on that pillar, on this side of on this pillar here,
Yeah.
or something here, or on the little
Bollard.
dollar there. But, I don't know, I think that almost looks,
We'd have to go with,
I like the way it looks in the picture, actually.
it's just a long ways away.
Oh, the words public entrance?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I don't know how far it's taken, but it shows up well in the picture.
yeah.
you wouldn't see it nowhere really till you got to the.
I think you'd have to, this is the issue where they come up here and try to get it. They're not gonna see it from there. There could even just be like a little plate like here. A square plate thing. Could have an entrance that goes down along here, but I don't know what material you use.
My first choice would be the window, but if we can't do it, then like you say, on the right side, between that, is that the sheriff's window there?
This here.
Yeah, right there. Something there maybe. But,
And thoughts were if we tried this back here, this doesn't cost much of
No,
anything at
no.
all.
well, people are finding it now with no signs, right?
Yeah,
Well, they've got the sign here that says public entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think we're all creatures of habit, and we come in this door all of our life, you know.
And if we ever get the concrete work, which is the next agenda item, they'll be directed more to come down.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of hard to tell by these pictures, but he did have it here, black anodized, but we told him we wanted the dark bronze, and you can't tell it by this picture.
okay, that's fine.
So I emailed him that and got an email reply back when he was out of office. But I'm sure that's not gonna be.
What color faces Main Street? Isn't it that same letterhead over there in there?
Yes, it is the same.
So it match color and everything.
And he said he was going to mess with this to see if he could find the county courthouse that would have a different font if you go with a 3-inch letter instead of the 2 3/4.
Yeah, it's super small.
It does.
Yeah,
It's a tight area to put that
we
on.
mentioned that to him that day. Five inch, there's county courthouse won't work, because Floyd is 12 inch, right? Is that what it says?
Yeah,
You make that just a little bit smaller, it's so bold anyway. And then bring the county courthouse up to 5 inches.
so the other idea there was to have the left and right margins all be centered, but you could probably do that, make a smaller Floyd and have a bigger, not have them lined on the left and right side. Probably should
I think we should have him toy with that, maybe give us some images of what it would look like with a larger Floyd, or larger courthouse, and maybe a little smaller Floyd. Can't remember the fellow's name we talked.
Brian.
How about just, if we're getting some options, how about a public entrance sign over there on the right side? It's an option.
Yeah, that's fine.
Put just like a square kind of thing or something over here? or-
Yeah. I don't know if that bollard is big enough or anything, if you don't wanna mess with that, it's kind of, it's round.
Yeah,
That doesn't look right.
I don't think that's a place to mount that,
No.
but,
I think it probably would be better.
use one block, as the blocks appear there. Yeah,
Are they responsive, or I mean, this seems to.
This company has been very responsive.
Good.
The company that I tried working with last year
Yeah.
didn't get responses, and then I contacted them again this year. And the guy said, oh, yep, I'll get back with you, and that's been 3-4 weeks ago, and he still hasn't gotten back with me. This company,
Someone we talked to, Renee, was very willing to do anything we asked her to do.
Yeah.
And, Okay, that's fine, let's do that. You see what it would look like, something over here, and change the size of these.
All right, how about we just, have a motion to direct, Supervisor Kiefer to work with Auditor Carr and come up with some designs according to some of the we talked about.
Motion, yes.
But hang on a second, to get larger letters here.
Yeah. I think it's-
Outside of a different font, you're saying you do wanna do a smaller font, because this is just a lot of words to put across there, that I don't know that you're gonna gain much in height of your letters. With that. Because that's just a lot. County courthouse is, unless you can do a taller letters in that same spot, we're pretty crowded here.
Looks to me like they should have made the LEC taller.
That was part of our cuts, is we reduced some of those measurements.
Well, let's have is it Ryan?
Ryan.
Yeah, let's have you give us some other images and make a decision.
We'll just bring it back for consideration.
I'll make
Well,
a
and we're
motion.
already on that committee, so he and I are the ones that are putting that in.
I'll make a motion for Supervisor Kiefer to, Auditor Gloria Carr, explore some of the, other options that we spoke of and bring it back for consideration to our next meeting, or as soon as possible.
I second that. There's been a motion made by Supervisor Jorgensen, second by Keelan to, authorize Supervisor Kiefer and Auditor Carr to work with the naval signs on some of the suggestions that we had, the ideas, and come back with the. Further discussion? Anyone listening on the phone like to comment on this? None? Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. All right. This one is concrete. This one needs to be done too. The next one, which is review action regarding proposal for the sidewalk work on First Street. Completed before October 30th, 2024. That's good. Because this all costs a lot of money, but it just seems like a lot of money.
Well, it's maintenance. If you don't fix the little things, they turn into big things, you know?
And we need it for handicap accessibility and,
Yeah.
and the new plans to directly come into this entrance. So,
I like the idea of it being done before the November election. And I think that's gonna be one of the criteria, that it has to be done before.
yes, very well made out, point made.
So I think maybe the easiest way for you to see everything that we're talking about is to look at this, because
All right.
when I got this quote from them, that's where we had some follow-up to do with Brian Sullivan with the city of Charles City, and Dennis and I just got a chance to talk to him, follow up with him a week ago. But this didn't really seem like everything we talked about to Wix. And so I followed up with him on this email that shows everything that would be included in this project for that $26,300. And so it ends up putting the ADA access on this side of the street off the new public entrance here. We have to fill, so that's a curb cut out there, and we have to put a curb in on this side, because Brian did confirm they will not allow us to have two cutouts. So the one on the north door here, that has to go away.
Is that a city thing or a
City,
federal?
city, yeah. And they will not budge on it. You heard the conversation, you were there.
I don't agree with them, but
Well, we can either push this down the road a little farther and not get
No,
anything
you
done,
don't.
or,
no, I get it, but
yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah. There's a broken sidewalk, cracked sidewalk out here, and so I wanted to confirm that Wix would be replacing that cracked sidewalk as well. If you walk across there, you'll obviously see it. It's a pretty good sized crack cracks across there. And then across the street, one of the things we asked Brian Sullivan is if we could do a little diagonal of that crosswalk. And so originally when we were talking about the crosswalks was when previous can't think of the other person who worked for the city, he had said you can do a little bit of an angle, but not much. So we talked about doing an angle that would be kind of goes kitty corner over to where that white car is in the picture, and with a line with its where they do the curb cut out there, that would align with the light pole sidewalk in the parking lot. Not that that's not ADA accessible, but just have that there. Brian said that he does not want that much of an angle of that crosswalk. Technically, their crosswalks are supposed to be on corners, so technically it would go down to the corner, and then you come across, and then back towards the public entrance. But he did agree to allow us to put the crosswalk straight out from here. He doesn't want it to go into this driveway, because that's one of the things that the flaw with this current one is it goes right in the middle of the drive to the exit of the parking lot. So there's gonna be a little bit of curb cutout we're gonna have to do on this side of that driveway to align. So he will allow for, if we need a slight 90-degree, off of 90 degrees to align with that, he's gonna do that. And then over on this side over here, this is where we've talked with the neighbors about installing a curb on this side because they were overtaking their area of what used to be the alley. We each had half of the alley. And so we would put a curb in our side of that driveway, but then cut out part of the curb on their side. And Jody actually has it painted on there where that she wants that curb. The only follow-up I have to do there is she's got a pretty deep back, and so I just want to follow up with Brian and have him take a look at it, see if that's appropriate to go as far back as she's asked for it to cut out. But so anyway, I got the response back from Pat McDermott with Wix that all of this is covered in this 26,000. Yeah, so he called, put it in your email. So he's got it in the email.
And they're in town now working on a city project.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same crew or not, but it'd be sweet if they could just
Yeah.
over.
I think we need to do it. I mean, we need to stay up on this stuff, and we gotta have a
Finish
disability ramp. So I'm gonna make a motion to approve the proposal regarding for the sidewalk work along Court Street in the amount of $26,300.
Second.
Have a motion by Supervisor George, second by Kiefer, to approve the WIC construction proposal for $26,300 for work on the curbs, the ADA cutouts, alignment, the painting to be completed by October 30th, 2024. Completed before that. Any overdig of poor soils to be filled with rock or lean concrete must be negotiated by contract notification. What's that mean? Extended language.
It's my understanding that there's some unknown stuff that there's.
All right.
They are tying this in also with their nickel. They have to replace concrete on the other side of the beach. Plan to do an hour.
All right. Any comment from anyone from the public? Agree, it needs to be done. Glad that there's gonna be one cutout, at least it's the one that's, directly to the public anyway, so. All sounds good. Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Future agenda items.
Do I have any at this time?
All right, item 17, motion to adjourn, is there?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
And moved by Keeper, seconded by Jordan to adjourn. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You're adjourned, thank you.
To turn off 56, press 1. I hope you have a communication solution.